Hello everyone and welcome to Poser's Full Movie Recaps. Our story today is about a group of sorority friends, who accidentally caused the death of one of their friends during a prank. Since they tried to cover up everything, they thought that they could get away with it. The film opens with a pajama party at the Theta Pi sorority house while in the middle of hazing. The house mother Mrs. Crenshaw is in the kitchen making tea, and sends two boys out when they burst inside the kitchen. 5 of the most senior class sisters named Jessica, a blonde self-appointed queen, Claire is a beautiful Asian, Chugs who drinks a lot and likes to make nasty jokes. Ellie is an intelligent pre-med and is the obligatory awkward less sexy sister, and Cassidy, the most responsible among the group, gathers at Jessica's room to celebrate their senior year. After a toast, Jessica shows them a live feed from Megan's room, who is in bed with Chug's brother Garrett. Cassidy asks why Megan isn't moving, and Claire answers that they gave Garrett something to put in her drinks. Initially, the others are in disbelief at what they have done, but eventually shrug it off since the pair are an on-again off-again couple. When Megan starts throwing up foam from her mouth, Garrett freaks out and starts screaming. The group rushes to Megan's room to help her, and sends Garrett out to get the car. Jessica starts giving her CPR, but after just a few moments, Megan pushes her off and asks if she's going to use her tongue or not. The girls who aren't in on the prank ask them what is going on, and learn that this is revenge for Garrett for cheating on Megan. Megan isn't done with her revenge, so the others agree to play along with their plans. As Claire drives, Garrett continues freaking out in fear of losing his girlfriend. Before they can get to the hospital, they tell Garrett that Megan has stopped breathing and is turning cold. Feeling guilty, Garrett cries and tells them that they need to call for help, not noticing that Claire took a wrong turn in an abandoned mine. They explain to Garrett that they cannot call the police, because if they do, their future will be ruined, as they are all going to get implicated in Megan's demise. They end up at the lakeside near the mine, and lay down Megan on Cassidy's jacket. Megan discreetly lays her phone next to her and starts taking a video, so she can capture Garrett's reactions for later use. Jessica takes the lead and orders everyone to find something they can use to get rid of the body, while Garrett says he'll take responsibility if they turn themselves in. Jessica refuses because they'll become accessory to the crime, and asks whether they should try sinking Megan into the lake with weights, or chop her up into pieces. Ellie comments that they might need to puncture Megan's lungs because if the air is left in them, she'll float. Garrett, still completely freaked and out of his mind, approaches Megan's body, while the others are busy pretending to look around the place. Suddenly, Garrett impales Megan with a cross wrench, probably thinking about Ellie's comment. As Megan starts coughing up, everyone is shocked and tries to stop the bleeding. Garrett in tears tells them that he's just trying to remove the air in her lungs, and realizes that Megan is actually still alive. They try to call 911 but their phone has no reception, and in the end, the prank they played causes Megan's death in real. A new argument erupts between the group, where some of them want to call the police, while the others refuse because they don't want to ruin their future. In the middle of the argument, Garrett finally realizes that what just happened was a prank gone wrong, and walks away while having a mental breakdown. Jessica says that Theta Pi sisters stick together, and reminds them of their sisterhood promise of trust, honor, respect, secrecy, and solidarity. Cass tells Jessica she's only thinking of herself, but Jessica says she's thinking of her boyfriend Kyle and his father the senator. Ellie wants to fess up too, until she remembers herself being the non-wealthy one, who can't afford to lose her scholarship, let alone hire criminal lawyers. Jessica eventually convinces the others that if she were Megan, she wouldn't want the lives of her sorority sisters ruined by this. But Cassidy still won't budge and says she will walk until she can find a signal to call the police. The rest of them drag Megan's body and dump it down the mineshaft, together with Cassidy's jacket and the cross wrench. They make a pact that they last saw Megan at the party, and know nothing about her disappearance. When Cassidy returns, she discovers that the group has disposed of the body and expresses her disapproval of what they did. The girls imply that they will frame Cass if they need to, since they throw her jacket with Megan and can serve as evidence against her. Feeling defeated, Cass gives in and starts washing themselves in the lake, and returns to the party to avoid suspicion. 8 months later, they all graduate from school and Cassidy's boyfriend Andy gives the speech, being the top of the class. The sorority sisters' relationship is strained, as Cassidy tries to mostly ignore them, especially Jessica. Later, when Andy sees the invitation to the Theta Pi luncheon, he asks his girlfriend what happened between her and the others, as they used to be so close and almost inseparable. Cassidy refuses to talk about it, and adds that they just need to show up at the luncheon party because she's part of a legacy family. The next day, Cass with her parents and Andy attends the luncheon, and is greeted by Jessica, who says it's been ages since they've seen each other. Jessica gives her goodbye speech as the sorority's president, and offers a toast in honor of their missing sister. The other four see a girl resembling Megan approaching. Thinking that their friend is haunting them, Ellie screams and drops her glass. In the kitchen, while Cassidy tends to Ellie, Jessica barges in and starts berating them for making a scene. She adds that the girl they saw was Megan's sister, and orders them to keep it together because it's their last day at school. Suddenly, a girl enters the kitchen to apologize for scaring Ellie, and officially introduces herself as Maggie, Megan's younger sister. She tells them that she's going to pledge to Theta Pi when she is a freshman in the fall, which is too much for Ellie, causing her to walk away. Maggie asks if she can come to the party tonight, but Jessica tells her that it would violate the Greek rule of recruiting, but promises to personally endorse her for the bid next year. Claire thinks that Maggie is creepy, which she is, but Cassidy says given the situation she has every right to be. Once Maggie is gone, everyone receives a photo of a gloved hand holding a cross wrench, and thinks that it might be Garrett. Chugs agrees that it is Garrett, playing a sick joke because he has lost his way since the accident. Chug says she'll deal with her brother, and leaves the rest of them to prepare for the party. Later, Cassidy tracks Andy's location using a GPS application from their phone, and calls his boyfriend to inform him that she might need to stay for the party tonight. Before the party, Mrs. Crenshaw gives a speech and tells the girls how special they are. She then reminds them not to trash the house too much, as it's a tradition that the house mother is absent on the last night of the year. She gives them all bracelets made of 22 links, symbolizing one for each of the graduating sisters. Cassidy put her bracelet on, but most of them tossed the bracelet as they didn't want to wear silver-plated accessories. Meanwhile, Chugs visits her therapist, but while looking for the doctor, she grabs an alcohol from the shelf and chugs it from the bottle. She finds him handcuffed on his bed, saying that his last session ended abruptly. He then offers Chugs to finish what his last patient has started, but while she freshens up, a hooded assailant finishes him off with a cross wrench. When Chugs comes back, the doctor isn't in his bed anymore, so she tries to wait in the living room. As she lies down and brings the bottle to her lips again at a 180-degree angle, the attacker ends her too by forcing the entire bottle down her throat. Jessica meets with Kyle's dad, who is a state senator. He pitches his piece about possibly running for a higher position at the office, and warns her that he doesn't want any surprises that might ruin his candidacy. She assures him that she won't disappoint, and they both pretend to be friendly with each other when Kyle approaches them. Back at the sorority house, Claire and Jessica discuss the weird text they received, unaware that another sister accidentally hears their conversation. When the pair leaves the shower room, the girl who overhears them tries to sneak out, but the hooded figure comes up to her and stabs the woman in the chin. Downstairs, Ellie goes down the basement to get more alcohol for the party, and nervously walks through the unlit creepy hallway. When she finally opens the light, she finds half of Cassidy's jacket that they used to wrap Megan's body. Extremely horrified, Ellie turns around to leave, but Kyle startles her when he suddenly appears to offer his help. The group has another sisterly meeting in Jessica's room, where Ellie is crying and freaking out about getting caught. Jessica insists it's Garrett who must have gone crazy with guilt, but when they try to call Chugs, the woman is unreachable. Cassidy and Ellie want to cancel the party, but Jessica and Claire refuse because it has already started. In the middle of the party, a hooded figure blends in with the crowd unnoticed by anyone. When Cassidy checks for her boyfriend's location, she learns that he arrives and the man surprises her. She expresses her desire to leave the party, but for appearance's sake, she needs to stay for a little bit more. Claire and her boyfriend Mickey have a fight, and after she storms off, he starts hitting on several women. At the same moment, Claire talks to Cassidy about what they did to Megan, and admits that they made a huge mistake in covering up her demise. Cass answers that they've all just made a series of mistakes since the accident, and all they can do is try to make up for them. Mickey is still looking for women to hit on, and notices the creepy hooded guest roaming around. When he tries to approach, it attacks him and breaks his leg. Mickey tries to limp away and escape through an open vent, but the attacker slashes him through the wall. Ellie has witnessed some of the attacks on Mickey through the window, so she screams and runs downstairs. Jessica, Claire, and Cassidy take Ellie to the kitchen, but the young woman is in shock and cannot be able to speak clearly. Jessica gets impatient and makes her show them what's wrong, and Ellie points to where he last saw Mickey. Jessica and Cassidy find Mickey's body still at the vent, and when they see the cross wrench at the wall, they have trouble believing it's the same one but note that it looks modified. Before they can further inspect the wrench, they all receive a message simultaneously from Megan's old phone. It's the video she took the night she perished, which no one knows existed. All their voices and parts of them are visible in it, and a text is attached to the video message saying to meet where it all happened, or else. The clip is going to the police in 20 minutes. Jessica tells Cassidy that they need to remain calm, and orders her to get the other two so they can go to the mineshaft. As they leave the room, Cassidy mentions to Claire that Mickey happens to be dead, and proceeds to go downstairs to talk to Andy. She tells him to go ahead to his parents' house because she has something to take care of. Andy is suspicious and offers to help, but Cassidy insists and promises to follow him later. Jessica is in a hurry and almost hits two parked cars with her SUV, and nearly runs over a girl standing in the road. When she goes out to yell, she finds that the girl is Maggie, who creepily says that she will go to the party because Jessica's rush rules are fake. She adds that Megan had always hated her, and her sister always knew that it was Jessica who Garrett slept with. As the girls drive off, Ellie remarks that Maggie would make a great theta pi. When they get to the abandoned mine, they check the trunk for a flashlight or any weapon they can use against an attack, but the only useful object they find is a flare gun. They find Garrett waiting for them holding the other half of Cassidy's jacket. The man hysterically shouts and tries to approach them, while holding something shiny and sharp in his hand. Thinking that he's going to attack, Jessica rushes to her car and runs him over. When they check the body, they find out that Garrett has slashes on his wrist and a broken shard of mirror in his hand. They start debating if Garrett is the real culprit, as Jessica believes that he's gone nuts ever since Megan's accident. Ellie is convinced that Megan has come back and still alive, and seeks revenge against everyone who wronged her. They also learn that Garrett has received the same video message as them, and figures that he's not the assailant after all. The group decides to check the mineshaft and lowers Cassidy down with an old chain, while Jessica lights the shaft with Garrett's mirror shard. The chain snaps and Cass falls, and luckily, she's uninjured. She uses her phone for light, but finds nothing except for a word written on the cave wall, which says that Theta Pi must die. The group rushes back to the house, and finds that the party is abandoned with the music still on. Ellie thinks everyone is dead, but Jessica counters that corpses don't drive their cars away. Jessica says she's going to find Kyle to make sure he's okay, and then they're going to figure out what to do next. They hear a strange noise aside from the music, and Claire discovers that it's from the hot tub which overheated, causing all the foams to cover most of the grounds outside. Jessica is equally annoyed with everything, so she sends away a few stragglers inside and turns the speaker off. Ellie is quietly crying, while Cassidy checks her phone and sees that Andy is out of the state already. The peaceful silence gets interrupted by another text message, and this time, it's from Chuck's phone saying, "Jessica, Ellie, Cassidy, I'm not coming to the party because I'm dead." The trio gasped, but Jessica immediately noticed that the text did not address Claire. Before she can finish what she's about to say, Claire bangs on the door screaming. As Cassidy starts undoing the many locks, she notices a loop of extension cord around Claire's ankle. It tightens and she gets pulled back in the foam by the assailant, and Cassidy follows while holding a cane. The flare goes off under the foam, and Cassidy finds Claire's body with a flare in her mouth. Cassidy rushes back inside the house, and the three of them start looking for Kyle. Jessica finds Maggie in her bed, who claims to have slept with Kyle but bailed when he saw Jessica's car approaching. Jessica and Maggie have a catfight, rolling in the hallway until Cassidy and Ellie pull them apart. When they hear footsteps, Jessica grabs a fire axe leaving the extinguisher. It turns out to be Mrs. Crenshaw, who bats Jessica across the face with her shotgun. She is pissed off and says she knows what they did, and Jessica wrongly assumes that it's about Megan, so she blurts out that they didn't mean to finish her off. Mrs. Crenshaw answers that she is talking about trashing her house, and when Maggie hears this, she tries to attack Jessica. Before the fight escalates, Mrs. Crenshaw fires a shell into the ceiling and forces them to talk. Jessica tells her everything, and afterward, the house mother asks them to hide in Jessica's room and call the police. The three sisters obey, but Maggie runs off, excited by the prospect that her sister might be alive. Once in the room, they realize they've all lost their phones at some point in the night's antics, but the sounds of Mrs. Crenshaw's shotgun blasts comfort them. Downstairs, Mrs. Crenshaw searches the rooms one by one, and encounters the hooded figure in the kitchen. Unfortunately, the attacker is faster and is able to impale her while she is reloading her weapon. In the nearby room, Maggie finds the hooded assailant and tries to approach, asking if she is Megan. The figure stays silent and throws a Molotov cocktail in Maggie's direction, which causes the room to erupt in flames. Upstairs, Jessica and Cassidy decide to check Mickey's body for his phone, while Ellie stays in the room hiding inside the closet. In the east wing, they find Kyle dressed in a Greek robe with no pants on, which makes Jessica confront him for sleeping with Maggie. Cassidy thinks that Kyle might be the attacker, so she rushes to search for Mickey's phone to call for help. Kyle attacks her because he's pissed that Jessica let all this happen, and as his girlfriend, it'll reflect badly on him and thus his dad. Jessica hits Kyle to save Cassidy, and the pair runs to the bathroom but find Megan's decomposing body hanging in the shower. Kyle finds them and chops the door with an axe, so they try to escape through the windows but discover that the house is on fire. Kyle follows and catches up to Cassidy, but when she's about to hurt the woman, Andy arrives and stabs him in the head. Cassidy embraces her boyfriend and thanks him for saving her, but asks how come he's still there when his GPS location tells her that he's already out of the county. He explains that he just put his phone on a Greyhound bus, because he wanted to stay and take care of her. Cassidy notices a cross wrench in his pocket, so she scampers away and finally realizes that he's the killer after all. Jessica tries to negotiate by promising to keep his secret, but Andy drives the tire iron into her mouth to silence her. He then explains to Cassidy that he knows everything because Ellie told him, and he can't believe what the other girls have put her through. He wants them out of their life forever, and he's hurt that he never told him the truth despite all the chances he gave her. Cassidy is horrified by what Andy has done, but the man justifies his action as a way of freeing her of horrible friends and protecting their future. He further elaborates that he just eliminated everyone who knows, like when Chugs told her therapist, Claire told Mickey, and even if she didn't, Mickey deserved to die anyway. Then Jessica told Kyle, Claire and Jessica accidentally told a girl in the shower, Cass told Crenshaw, and Ellie told him. Cassidy appears to agree with his logic, until he says all they have to do now is finish off Ellie. Cassidy disagrees and tells him that Ellie is harmless, but Andy argues that if Ellie had told him, she might eventually tell somebody else. She then lies and tells him that Ellie is hiding in the basement, and when he goes to find her, Cassidy runs back to Jessica's room to get her. As they are about to escape outside, Andy comes back and lunges between them. Cassidy yells at Ellie to run, and Andy hesitates for a moment but ultimately decides to chase after his girlfriend. Andy is able to corner Cassidy in a room, but she grabs a lamp and knocks him out. She then hears Maggie yelling for help, and when she's about to help her escape the fire, Andy arrives and throws a cross wrench to her that is tied to a rope. He repeatedly tries to impale them with it, reeling in each time he misses. The boards under Cassidy give in to the fire when she dodges, causing her to fall. Her life is saved by Mrs. Crenshaw's gift bracelet catching on a nail, because underneath her, the whole ground floor is engulfed in flames. Thankfully, Ellie arrives with the house mother's shotgun on her hand, and fires at Andy, causing him to fall back, breaking the floor and falling into the inferno below. Ellie helps Cass up and tells Maggie to wrap herself with a thick curtain so she can cross through the fire, and afterward, the trio climbs down the scaffolding to safety. Months later, the Theta Pi house has been rebuilt, and the Greek life is back to full swing again, including Maggie as a newly inducted sister, unaware that one of the gardener with slashes on his wrist are watching them. Subscribe to watch more videos like this. You can also hit the notification bell and like the video to help the channel out. Thank you.